Seriously? Hey guys, and welcome to another conversion video with me, 6+ Stevo. And as you can see, this one is going to be featuring my Tankbustas. I previously did a conversion video on my Tankbusters squad. If I remember correctly, I think it was my very first video. So I'll pop a link up in the corner if you want to go and check that one out. But since then, I have continued to do some work on them. Primarily by adding to them, because Tankbusters kick ass. Any long-term followers of the channel are going to know by now that I'm a huge fan and advocate of Tankbusters. They are an awesome squad on the tabletop. They really are good, especially as my one are Bad Moon Tankbusters. They are the cream of the crop in my opinion. So yeah, with the success of my Tankbusters on the tabletop always managing to serve me well, I wanted to make more. Now originally the plan was to make another squad so I could use the mob up stratagem. That has now since been changed. You can only use the mob up stratagem on boys, but I did not let that deter me. Even with news of that, I carried on building because I still want 2 squads of Tankbusters. Originally I had a squad of 10 with a couple of Bomb Squigs, and it performed well, but it always left me wanting more. So the original plan was to expand to the full-size squad of 15 and add more Bomb Squigs to it. I think the maximum squad you can have is 21, and that being 15 Tankbusters with 6 Bomb Squigs. But I had so much fun converting these, I didn't want to stop. And as I said, I started thinking about using the mob up stratagem with them, so I just carried on making them. And yeah, Tankbusters are great fun to convert and kit bash, and they can be very easy. Some of these have been a real challenge, some of them have been a bit more in-depth, some of them are very simple conversions, some of them are a little bit more complex and took a little bit more work with a little bit of green stuff and a little bit of cutting and filing and sawing and using a little bit of plastic art and stuff here and there. But yeah, predominantly most of these have been very easy to do, and I think most people with some simple tools, most of the tools I use would be just the mold line scraper, a file. A file is very useful if you are slicing bits up and chopping bits up. You need to ensure that you've got smooth flat edges to be able to glue these 2 separate bits together that weren't designed to go together. And for sawing them up, I've just got a cheap saw. I use the deadly Stanley blade as well for some bits, because some of the small bits, like if you want to slice a gun in half and things like that, just some small bits, slicing through with a Stanley blade, as long as you are incredibly careful, do not do what I did. You don't want to end up with one of these. Yeah, so that's generally how I went about it. And like I said, these have just been great fun, really good fun. I'm not a fan of the Tankbusters squad that GW sell. For one, you only get 5 in there. You don't get options. They're sort of as they are, mono build. They pretty much come in one part for the most part. And you've got the variety of weapons in there. So you've got some with rocket launchers, some with rocket pistols, one with a tank hammer. Now they in themselves, they're quite good miniatures. They are quite nice miniatures. And originally they were in metal, and this is definitely preferable. Now they come in failcast, as you can see from the 2 Bomb Squigs here at the front. These are failcast Bomb Squigs. The only reason I actually bought a set of Tankbusters just to get these Bomb Squigs. I bought the squad, took the Bomb Squigs out, and then sold the rest off on eBay because I wanted to make my own. But the Bomb Squigs, although they're failcast, they're little, they're pretty solid one piece. So I don't foresee any sort of problems with sort of, I don't know, melting in the sun or warping or, just literally melting into a paste, as failcast is known to do. But yeah, so I've added extensively since the last video on these guys, and as you can see as well, I've rebased them. The original squad I clipped off from the old small bases onto the new larger bases, and I've got to say, in the process of doing that, it has converted me. I was wrong, I do admit it. I think orcs look better on the larger bases. I really do.
Jesus.
And so I now have 32 Tankbustas. Well, I have 25 Tankbustas and 7 Bomb Squigs. And yeah, without further ado, let's take a look at them. Now, like I said, some of these you will have seen before if you've watched my earlier video on my Tankbustas, but even those ones have had some bits, you know, I've sort of tweaked them and added to them. And yeah, so where should we start? Well, let's start with the Bomb Squigs first. So nothing really to mention here. 2 bog standard Bomb Squigs. These are the ones that come in the sets in Failcast. They are what they are. They're pretty cool models. I like them. So that's those. But I wanted more Bomb Squigs because 2 just is not enough. So with that in mind, I bought the Squig Herd set from Age of Sigmar, which comes with 10 Squigs, and then all I had to do was add some explosives to them to make them into Bomb Squigs. And let's go with this one first. So let's get that to focus there. We'll move the camera down a bit and see if we can get it to focus a bit better. There we go. So yeah, this one, nice little simple conversion. As you can see, I've just used a bit of green stuff. I rolled green stuff flat, sliced off little sort of ribbons of it, wrapped the ribbon round the Bomb Squig and then round this rocket, and yeah, just strapped it to his back. So fairly simple conversion. I'll be the first to admit I am not great with green stuff. I've only used it in very limited ways, usually just to sort of fill gaps and, you know, minor corrections and stuff. I've never really got advanced with it. This is about the most advanced thing I've ever done with green stuff, I would say, other than just filling gaps. But I think it seems to have worked all right. I'm sure probably someone else could do a better job of that than me, but it serves the purpose. I didn't just want the stuff stuck on. I wanted it to look like it was strapped onto him. So yeah, there's a nice simple one with a little rocket strapped to his back. Next, I've got this fella here. And much in the same way, he has 2 stick bombs strapped to his back. I like the running pose of this guy. You know, he's in full bounding towards some enemy tank about to destroy it. Again, nice and simple. Just a squig with the addition of a couple of stick bombs and a little bit of green stuff. And there we go. Effective Bomb Squig. Next, this one I quite like. So this fella, he's sort of bracing himself, ready for the charge, ready for the order, or ready to set loose. And again, he's got 2 Tankbuster bombs, which I've wrapped a little bit of green stuff round and a strap round him. And yeah, there you go. He's ready to go. And then I've got this guy. This guy I'm quite pleased with. I quite like how this one's turned out. So this one is one of the Squigs. He's got the open mouth, so I decided, well, that's perfect. Let's have him chewing on a stick bomb, like he's just got it hanging out his gob there. So I just sliced the end of a stick bomb and glued that up into his mouth, and then strapped on again another Tankbuster bomb on his back. And yeah, again, another one in a sort of bit of a running pose. Not too happy with the way the green stuff's sort of moulded around there, but you know, I don't think too many people are going to notice that. It still looks all right. It's just sort of gone a bit of a funny angle underneath there, but I'm not too fussed on that. When you're making orcs, and you know the amount of them that you're making, you've got to try and reduce your sort of perfectionist standards to a degree, or else you'll just never get anything done. And like I said, I'm not great at working with green stuff. And the green stuff I was using was very old, actually, years and years old, and I think it was sort of past its best, really, but I really wanted to get them done, so I sort of persevered. This guy is probably my favourite one. So yeah, this guy, another one with a sort of open mouth, got a tank buster hanging out of his tank buster bomb hanging out of his gob there, which I just sliced through the handle and then sort of very gently opened it up, popped it up in his teeth, and then closed it back up and sort of stuck a bit of glue in there, so that's held on. So he's held on to that, and then again on his back. Now these stick bombs are from the Storm Boy set, so they've already got the sort of little bit of strapping, as you can see, wrapped around them. So literally I didn't need to do any green stuff around them. I just had to put green stuff around him for his strap and then glue them on his back. So he is heavily loaded. I love the sort of drool and slobber hanging out of his mouth. Gives him a really good dynamic as he's kind of turning on the spot there to see out his target. So he's probably the most heavily laden Bomb Squig. But yeah, there you go. So there's my 7 Bomb Squigs. And I think when with the others, they do look slightly different. The sort of style of the Squig's different, but I think once it's all painted up, these will tie in with the proper ones. And in many cases, actually, I kind of prefer some of my ones to the official ones. But it just shows you a great way you can use that Squig herd kit to get lots of Bomb Squigs. Probably one of the most affordable, easiest ways to get them if you don't want to go looking for the official ones. And with the official ones, there is only the 2 as well. So if you're going to go for lots, you're going to have a lot of repeats, and you don't really want that. So yeah, highly recommend that Squig herd set. Right, next, what should we go into? Let's have a look at the 2 boss knobs that are going to be leading these squads, and we'll start with this guy. So this guy you would have seen before. He is my original knob of the Tankbusters. He's made using a black reach body. The hand was originally holding an axe, so I just sliced the top off and replaced that with a stick bomb. The other arm is a from the knob set arm, which I sort of had to do a bit of filing and that there to get that to fit in. I was originally holding a pistol, which I replaced with a rocket launcher from a Death Dread. And the cabling managed to sort of just line up with the base of the pistol, so it all connects up quite nice, and I think that's made for quite an effective looking gun, actually. The head, black reach knob, which I love, the targeter and stuff. Smoke launcher, so we've got a little bit of a trophy from one of his kills. The only thing I've done to this guy since then, I have added to him and tweaked him. Obviously, he wasn't rebased because he was already on a larger base, as I already did with my knobs. But I've added a boss pole, which I had to drill down because the stuff on his back was glued in so tight I couldn't break it off without damaging the model. So I had to drill down to fit in a boss pole. The reason I did that as well, because previously my Ork boys were on smaller bases, so the Tankbusters themselves were on smaller bases, so differentiating between the knobs and the boys was quite easy. Since I've upgraded all the boys to larger bases, I found that the knobs kind of got lost in amongst them, because some of the Tankbuster boys, with all their kit and stuff loaded on, are quite tall, and so the knobs don't really stand out. But I also added a few extras. So previously he had the stick bombs and the Tankbuster bomb, but I just added in again from the Storm Boy set, another slugger and stick bomb set from that. So he's really loaded up, ready to blow some shit up. And I think the addition of the boss pole just enhances him nicely. The next leader of the second squad, and this guy I really like. I had a lot of fun building this guy. So he is from the knob set. The head, I believe, is from the mega knob set, again with a targeter. Quite a nice aggressive look to him. I like using as many targeters on the eyes and barnicks because it sort of helps explain their increased accuracy against vehicles and stuff. He's got the pistol with the addition of a Mega Knobs rocket on there. Again, a little bit of filing, smoothing out, and stick that on the end of the pistol. Got addition of some smaller rockets from the Space Marine set on top there, so just a proper nice little loaded up rocket pistol there. And then his other gun, very similar to the other one, used a rocket launcher from the Death Dread kit, the other one, and moulded that on with a targeter, a scope on there. Lots of explosives and accessories and a boss pole. And yeah, I just love the pose of this guy, really dynamic pose. He is bristling with Dakar, as any Bad Moon and Tankbuster should be. And I just think he looks absolutely badass. I love him. One of my favourite knobs in the whole army, I think. And now we're on to the boys. So simple one here. As you can see, I've got a little bit of paint on this one. But yeah, just a bog standard rocket boy, really. Pretty much exclusively stuff from the boys kit, I think. Although I think the little blast protector thing is from the looters kit for the rocket launcher from that. But yeah, there you go. Nice, simple. So use your rocket boys out of the kit. That's a ready-made tank buster right there. Nice and simple. Don't need to do really anything. Let's pick some more of the rocket launcher dudes. So yeah, another one here using a rocket launcher. Pretty much mostly a simple boys kit. Just stuck a stick bomb on his back to show that he's loaded up with a few more explosives and accessories. Nice and simple. Do we have any more? Yes, we've got one here. This one uses the head from a burner. And the addition of the stick bombs, I believe, from the knob set. Those are nice and simple, but I like this sort of goggles and the bandana mask. That looks pretty cool. Next we've got another one here. Now, this is definitely from my original squad. He uses the rocket launcher from the Met kit. I can tell because it's got the little sort of scope on the rocket itself. So yeah, so he uses some looter and tank buster parts. He's got the shoulder pad off a Space Marine there. The backpack is from a burner with the addition of some smoke launchers on top. And yeah, there you go. So he's fully loaded up. I'm quite pleased with how that guy came out. Do we have any? Oh yeah, one more here with the standard rocket launcher. This one, I used the head from a Savage Ork from Age of Sigmar. They're a little bit larger, but I think I can just about get away with that being acceptable, because I just love that aggressive looking, you know, roaring, and I love how he's proper squinting. He's got one eye scarred, and I tried to, so it looks like he's scoping right out, going for his target. I just needed to use a little bit of green stuff just to smooth out the sort of gap between his head and the neck, just to fill that out. There is a bit of a gap underneath, but you're not going to be able to see it unless you hold it at a real angle and really look for it. But yeah, I thought that head worked quite well. Also, you'll notice he's got a stick bomb chucker on his back, I believe from the Mega Knob set, and you get loads of these. And I think they make quite cool backpacks for tank busters, because it looks like they can actually sort of pop and fire them out almost like mortars. A little bit more advanced than just having some stick bombs to throw. They've got a sort of a stick bomb chucker on the back. I think it gives them quite a good look. And yeah, when you're running out of your sort of bags of stick bombs and stuff, these are a great addition to add. I think that works quite well anyway. What else have we got now? We've got a boy here. That is, he is made using a shooter. I clipped off the ammunition clip, covered over the bit where the bullets go in with a little glyph there, and just stuck a rocket on the end. Nice and simple. Bit of armour plating on him, and the bundle of rockets on the pack. Very simple but effective. You know, just at glancing at that, you can see that's a rocket launcher, and I think it works really well actually. I really like that. See, conversions don't always have to be difficult and complicated. They can be nice and simple, and I've done a few with shooters, converting them into things. So I've got one here. I've just noticed actually that I need to pop a little glyph on the end of that just to cover up that bit, the magazine. But yeah, as you can see, another one with a rocket. Got the bundle of rockets on his back. I like these ones with the hair squigs. Gives them a bit of, you know, sort of a bit more dynamic. I love the hair sort of flowing in the wind. Somehow it makes them look a little bit more sort of, what's the word I'm looking for? They're dynamic, but yeah, they just look a little bit more like they're in motion, you know, like it's, so yeah. Quite another easy, fairly easy one to do. Do we have it? We've got another one here. This one, again, it's from the original squad. I think since then I've just added a shoulder pad to him just to bulk him out a little bit. Again, a shooter with the addition of a rocket, and also a little sort of side rocket from the looters set, just to sort of again change so it doesn't look like it was originally a shooter. I want it to look like a proper loaded up, fires multiple rockets, and orcs will obviously accessorize and upgrade and show off with their guns, so he's really kitted his one out. He's got the target ahead. I think that's just from the standard boys kit though. And then for his back, just stuck on a tank buster bomb, ready for him to grab and lob at will. Next we have this guy here. Haven't done anything to him since the last time he was on, but I'll show him off again as I'll show them all. So this guy's converted as well using a burner. So he's got the backpack with some kit and stuff on there, various bits from Space Marines, tank buster bomb on there, and I've kept the fuel pipe this time loaded up into what was originally a burner, but cut off the burner parts and replaced with the combi rockets from the knobs weapon, which I sliced off and just managed to line up with this perfect. And again, I think that's given a really cool sort of unique look to this one, and it almost looks like his rockets are sort of gas propelled or something, which I think is quite cool. And he's very kitted out, you know, because not just is it important that tank busters have rocket launchers, but you need to sort of show on the unit that they're sort of loaded with a lot of explosives. And not all of them are. Some of them are fairly bare bones. But I think as long as a lot of the squad have the stuff, you know, it looks like they sort of share the stuff out between them and they'll rob it off each other. And, you know, their mate in front of him, they might grab a stick bomb out of his backpack and lob it. This guy, pretty much standard boys kit, just with a rocket that was, again, from Space Marines, bolted onto the end of a pistol. Nice and simple. I just like the pose of this guy. Simple, but effective. You can tell what he is. Now, although some of them have rocket pistols, I don't use them as pistols because you can have dual wielding rocket pistols. I don't use those. That's why they've all only got one pistol, because in game terms it is just a rocket launcher. It's just that some of them are made out of pistols, some of them are rockets, some of them are shooters, and some of them I've made out of looters. Now, I've seen this done before on I think it was Striking Scorpion, might not be, correct me if I'm wrong, but ages ago, sort of inspiration to get going on these, I've seen that he used looters to make tank busters. Now, from what I could tell, all he did was build the looters as normal and then just stick rockets on the end. I wanted to just take it a little bit further than that. I didn't want it to just be obviously a looter with a rocket stuck on the end. So I did effectively just on this one, I sliced the end of it off and then stuck a rocket on the end. But in addition to that, I left off all the sort of the scaffolding, the sort of bars that come across and the sort of, you know, the whole sort of set of the looter bit. I removed all that. And that left a few holes, so which I filled in just down there with a bit of green stuff just to fill in the hole. And up here, used a couple of glyphs to cover up the holes. And then I stuck a sort of target on the side, so he's scoping through there, find his target. And I just wanted it to look like a shoulder-mounted rocket launcher. And this looks like proper, seriously ready for business. And I stuck another rocket in his hand there. The hand that holds the shooter, these are great for just sticking in rockets and stick bombs and look like they're about to reload. So he's ready to shoot that and use his showing off stratagem to whack the next one in and fire off again. But yeah, I think that's effective. Just giving him a bit of a pack there as well, some gear. And the other dude, much the same sort of thing. I cut the looter gun right back because this one had the sort of shooter machine gun parts of it. I wanted to slice them right off and just replace with the double rocket, again from the Mega Knob set. Use the glyphs to cover some of the details that expose it as a shooter. Stuck on the sort of flashlight lens on there. Glyphs, green stuff to cover up the holes. And with the hand here, this was originally the other side of the looter arm, and that's got a sort of bit of ammunition sort of built into it, so I had to cut that off and then file that down. And then where he was originally holding, you know, the bracing for the looter gun, I just sliced the middle of a tank buster bomb and stuck that up in his hand, so it looks like he's holding a tank buster bomb. The head, I believe, is the head from the truck kit, which I think is quite cool. And yeah, I think he's very effective. As you'll notice, some of the parts are green. They're not painted. These are, you know, the looter parts from Kill Team. So this comes in that coloured plastic. Got a bit of a trophy there. That's a glyph from a venerable dreadnought, I believe. So he's at one point destroyed one of them and stuck that trophy on his back. Because Tankbusters do like to collect trophies. Now, I don't have many trophies in the army, but I've stuck a few bits here and there where I can. This guy here used the torso from the mech, from the Burner's kit, because I like that sort of bare chest look with the chain. Looks quite savage. Grenade hand, and again, another simple conversion of a pistol into a rocket launcher with a Mega Knob set. And a stick bomb chucker on his back, double one. Again, quite a nice dynamic pose there. Really, really try and get your posing right. I know a lot of people just slap bits together willy-nilly and don't think too much about the posing, but do some dry runs with your posing, because the pose can really set a miniature off. Much like this guy in a similar pose, but I do like this. He uses a head from the old fantasy orcs, which again I really like. I like the hair squigs. Stuck a bit of armour plating on him. Another rocket pistol job. You can see there where I've snipped off the clip and filed that down. And bag grenade, so he's fully loaded, ready for business. Another use of a fantasy head here. As I said, these are Bad Moon Tankbusters, so I had to get one of these in. I love these heads. I need to incorporate a few more of these into my army, probably into my shooter boys. Just shows him as a Bad Moon straight away. I got a real soft spot for that head. They don't make these anymore, but there's lots of them around on eBay, the old fantasy orcs, and they're fully interchangeable with 40k orcs. So it's a great way to add some variety in. Tankbuster Bomb, he uses a pistol there with a few modifications and the bit there. Again, I might just cover over that bit of a little glyph just to hide that little clip bit. Simple, but I really like it. Again, I love the posing of that guy. He looks pretty badass. Another one here made from a shooter. I think again that's a fantasy head. Nice and simple, pretty much just a modified shooter, and the addition of stick bombs and a bit of armor plating. Simple, crude, but effective. Pretty much the what Orcs are all about, isn't it? My old favourite. I've since I last shown him off, I've added just a shoulder plate to him just to bulk him out a little bit, but I love this guy, love the pose. The head is from the Storm Boys. As soon as I saw that, I'm like, that's got to go on a Tankbuster. The rocket pistol, I can't remember where that rocket came from, but I sliced the middle bit out, so he's got like a stubby rocket in there. I think that looks quite cool. And yeah, I just think he looks great. Definitely one of my favourites in the entire squad. This one again from the original squad. I've since then I think I've added a shoulder pad and a targeter onto his gun. The gun is several parts here. It was part shooter and part rocket launcher from Death Dread, which sort of sliced and modified quite heavily, and I think that works quite well. Quite a beastly looking rocket launcher. So yeah, quite like him. He's looking quite cool, I think. What else have we got here? Another sort of rocket pistol job. This hand was from the Storm Boys. I like the way that it's holding the stick bomb. It's holding the stick bomb in the other hand. The one that you get, yeah, like this one, the one that you get in the boys kit, I always found it sort of holding it at a very strange angle, and unless you get the posing right with the rest of the model, it can look very strange. But I love this one, how he's got it held in the other hand, looking like he's about to sort of roll it across the ground. Again, stick bomb chucker on his back. Little addition of a shoulder plate, looter head, so he's got the targeter, pistol, mega knob rocket. Makes for very simple, easy Tankbuster conversion. This guy here is made using a burner that's had bits sliced off it, a little bit of plasticard styrene tube glued in there, because where his hand connects to it, the rocket was just too close and it just didn't look right. It looked like his hand was going to get in the way, so I just had to extend that out just a little bit just to make it a little bit more believable. But I think that's made for a nice, effective, cool looking rocket launcher. Otherwise, he's just a combination of buoys, looters, burners, and a stick bomb chucker, again from, I believe, the Mega Knob set. And yeah, simple, but it works. We've got this guy here, another rocket pistol job. This one I took the extra bit by adding another side mounted rocket and a targeter on that pistol, just to take it a little step further. So the head is a Storm Boy's head. All these different sort of heads with the helmets and the straps over, it just gives him that sort of ragtag look, which I really like for this squad. I love that they're all I love that all the rocket launchers are different. You know, you've got some out of pistols, some out of shooters, some out of looter guns, some proper rocket launchers. They're all completely ragtag, but they all do the same job. You know, it's just a way of firing rockets, and it gives them a real mob-like look. This guy I'm quite pleased with. Now, this guy took a little while to get right. Again, he's got a head from a fantasy orc. He's got a rocket there from the burner rockets. A lot of these rockets came from leftover Death Dread rockets, and I got some burner rockets from the Blitzer bomber. And this guy uses the underslung slugger from the Storm Boy set. As soon as I saw that, I'm like, oh, I need an underslung rocket launcher. So with this, sliced off the little end bit at the back where it connects to the rocket pack and bolted on a rocket. And then just a little bit of cutting and filing. This battery pack that I can't remember where it's left over from, and this cabling was a leftover part that I cut off from, I believe, one of the Death Dread rocket launchers. Little bit of filing just to make it line up, glued it in place. And yeah, didn't need to use any green stuff at all there. I did cheat a little bit of using a little bit of glue and stuff just to sort of mould it into shape almost. Sort of shortcut bodge up job, but it works. So he's got a sort of a power pack on his back powering his rocket launcher. I just think this gives him a very unique look. I love the fact that it's underslung, which makes it look very cool. He's got some shoulder pads from the Mega Knob set. And I think the fantasy head, I think it works quite well. It looks pretty cool. It adds just a bit of variety, just a few more variety of different heads. There's only, in the whole squad of 25, there's only very few of them that have got repeat heads that I've used a couple of times over, because at some point you do run out of individual heads and you do start having to use the same ones. Little tricks I do though. I don't know if I'm going to be able to show you a specific one, because I've done the same thing with my shooter boys and stuff, but with heads like this, a great way, get that head on one of them, slice the top knot off, file it down, you've got yourself a bald orc that just gives you two different head types then. Great way to get a bit of variety, little tip there for you. Last one to show you, this fella. So he looks like he's getting the round in at the pub. But yeah, he has, these hands come from the Storm Boys set. And as soon as I got these in my possession, I was like, well, I've just got to do one that just looks like he's nuts. He's about to blow himself up. You could do this sort of thing and say it's a tank hammer, I guess, because effectively in game terms it would do the same thing, just a suicidal kind of thing. But I didn't want to do that. I wanted him still to have a rocket launcher, but I thought, right, I've used his hands up now. What am I going to do with the rocket launcher? I didn't just want to sling one over his back or something. So what I ended up doing was taking, this is a bit of a pack from, I believe, the Space Marine Bikers set. Stuck that on his back as a backpack, and then clipped off. This is from the Mega Knobs set where you make the big mech with teleport blaster. So I sliced that bit off and instead of putting the sort of teleport blaster bit on there, stuck a rocket in the end of it. I filed this glyph bit off something. I needed a little round sort of hubcapped almost looking bit to cover up the little bit at the back. I can't even remember what that came off. It was part of a larger piece which I sliced off, filed round, smoothed off and stuck over the end just to hide some of the sort of ugly joins. But yeah, so he's got a back mounted sort of rocket launcher there, which gives him a really, really unique look. And I love the head with the the scarred missing eye socket. Originally the plan was to almost do this idea but have a sort of cable running down and a hand sort of holding a trigger, so he's like got a trigger button that he presses to fire the rocket. So yeah, there's not really a way where this is fired, but you could say it's sort of remotely fired from another orc that's with him. Possibly I had the idea as well of putting almost cabling coming out of that eye socket into the back, so it looks like he just sort of, he thinks or he'll wink and fire the rocket or something like that. But it's orc stuff, it makes sense somehow. Maybe it's automatically targeted, who knows. But I just think he looks cool. He stands out in the group. I was going to do more of these. I've got more parts, so who knows, in the future when I make yet more Tankbustas, which is a possibility, but for now I'm done. I've made 25 of them. I've got a squad of 10 and a squad of 15, and plus I've got Bomb Squigs. So my plan is to use the larger squad on foot that I can use all the psychic powers and stratagems and things on. So a good tactic I like to use with the large squad is to use the weird boy to jump them where I want them, and then use the stratagems like showing off and more Dakar and stuff to get the maximum effectiveness out of that large squad. The smaller squad, I'll probably go back to the old tactics that I used to use and have them mounted in a truck for that mobility and survivability. And that way I've got a squad, in backup. Once the truck is destroyed, they can then get out and start using stratagems and things, and go from there. But yeah, 2 squads. I don't think it was going to matter what I come up against vehicle wise. If I manage to synchronize both squads on them, the large squad get teleported into place, the smaller squad get up there in the truck, and then both of them fire at the same target, the one on foot using the stratagems, they're going to destroy pretty much anything, unless I do some really bad rolls. But there you go, guys. There is my big old horde of Tankbustas. I've not used all of them out in game yet. As you can see, I've got them based. They are now ready for painting and undercoating, but I wanted to show them off first because I think it's quite nice to show conversions off before they're painted or undercoated, because then you can see, you can see the green stuff, you can see almost the different parts that are used. And it's, hopefully I've inspired some of you guys out there to try out some of these techniques and try out some of these ideas. Please feel free to steal any of these ideas for making your own Tankbustas. And I can't recommend it enough, guys. Not only are they fun and fluffy and creative, but also they're brilliant on the tabletop. There's just no lose to this. And if you do have a nice large bits box with lots of rockets and explosives and bits, then start raiding through your boys and mixing and matching those kits together and get yourself the Squig herd set, because yeah, these are fantastic. So easy to do. They look great. Nice, cheap, effective way to get Bomb Squigs. And the rest of that set, I've still got a load more Squigs. I've still got 5 more in that set, which I'm going to use for runt herds and attack squigs, and yeah, who knows what else. I might just use some more of them on parts of scenery and stuff. But a box of 10 squigs is pretty much going to see to all your conversion needs. And yeah, just also I would say some of the parts here I just got from a bits box. I did run out of rockets and Tankbuster bombs and things, but eBay is a great source. Look through eBay on bits. You'll see lots of sellers that are selling off bits, stick bombs and Tankbuster bombs and rockets and things. And yeah, there's some great stuff. So get yourself some burner kits, Get yourself, the boys kit is just brilliant, and leftovers from the Mega Knobs set. If you don't make your Mega Knobs with combi rockets, you're going to be left over with lots of rockets from them. There's a multitude of ways to get your hands on lots of rockets and then convert stuff into rocket launchers. This is not only cheaper way to have tank busters, but in my opinion better. I like my tank busters better than GW's own ones, and yeah, that's possibly just me blowing my own trumpet a little bit, but yeah. Anyway guys, I hope you really liked this video. I had a lot of fun building these. I've really been looking forward to showing them off to you guys and talking about them. And like I said earlier, I hope this inspires you to make some of your own tank busters. If you have made your own tank busters, then head on over to my Facebook group. The link for that will be in the description. Head on over there, become a member of that group. You can share your pictures for your conversions and your creations. All of us in that group would love to see them. Great way to share inspiration and share ideas, and let me know what you think of my tank busters, if you like them or not, and if you're gonna do similar things with yours. Comment in the comments below, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button for many more conversion videos in the future. Thanks very much guys. This is 6 Stevo signing out.